So this is going to be a slightly different ups and downs because we just had AEW Dynamite. And given that it was here in the UK, I went to the damn show. Now I have watched it back on television, but you know how brains work. Sometimes it's the first thing you see that ties into your gut reaction, but let's all take our fingers of powers, give the good bits an up, and the bad bits are down. It really was top stuff to start the show as well, because out came Mercedes Moné and out came Britt Baker. They were going to do a little bit of contract signing, because that's what we do in wrestling. Now the crowd helped this massively, because they were so loud throughout the whole thing, but they booed Mercedes and they cheered Britt. Given that I was basically in the second row, I could see Camille up close. I'm happy to report her nickname is true. She a brick house. Mercedes also mocked Britt Baker's DMD hand gesture, which made me laugh, as she also talked about how Britt Baker is the past now, and that kind of rhymes. When Britt was like, ha, you want to talk about the past? Let's go back to last year's All In. You weren't even at the whole thing because you were hobbling around. But I then wanted to point out, well, actually, Britt, if we are going to take the name of this pay-per-view, you were never all in because while you were training to become a wrestler, you were also training to become a dentist. So quite clearly, you didn't have confidence in your abilities. You had a backup plan. That's not the same for Mercedes Moné because everything since she's been 10 years old has been professional wrestling. That's why she stands here now as your DBS chap. The crowd then chanted shut the flub up, and I'm pretty sure they were saying flub when Britt Baker did fire back, because she was like, nothing about plan Bs here. I had 2 plan As, and also, you were always one of 4, which was a 4 horsemen reference, or 4 horsewomen reference, whereas it comes to old Britt, I am one of 1, and I've been the backbone of the AEW women's division since day 1. She was really speaking from the heart here too when she said, Mercedes, do you not understand? You have been so influential to women's wrestling for basically a decade, but this new version absolutely sucks because you only care about money and you only care about your own stupid legacy. Now the whole thing was conducted under no contact rules, so Britt was like, alright, well I can circumvent that, and she attacked Camille when she jumped off the table and she cross-bodied Mercedes Moné, but because Camille was serving as like the meat part of the sandwich, technically, they didn't actually touch. Britt then held up the TBS title, which means she's probably not winning at Wembley. And actually, I think that's the right thing to do because this shouldn't be a one and done. We should get a good 3 matches out of it throughout 2024. And usually in the world of sports entertainment, the best way to do that is have the heel win. But I think this is the best thing that they have done after a couple of weeks where it was a bit wishy-washy. Also a great start to Dynamite. Getting it up. When I think Chris Jericho won the night. I laughed out loud in the arena because he did a backstage promo and he was like, man, it's great to be in Cardiff, England. And of course, Cardiff is in Wales. There was a Welsh guy sat next to me. He was so damn mad, I was chuckling away. Jericho's also going to destroy Tommy Billington later, mostly because he is from England and he shouldn't be using that Dynamite Kid name. And he also said, by the way, I do not like Hook. Brian Keith then told us that Wembley was a big-ass stadium. That made me chuckle as well. Oh no. When we did get this match, and I'm just going to be that guy, it's called Nerding Out, I love watching this stuff up close. Because again, I was in the second row, and I can't remember the last time I was able to be that near. And watching Chris Jericho in action, look, I don't care if you like him, you don't like him, you like his character, you don't like his character, you can just see all the experience happening in the ring, some of his movements and the little things that he does. You can see why the guy is all time. Billington held his own as well, although you could see Chris Jericho being a ring general in there. The best part, although I don't think it's aired on TV, is when Chris grabbed the mic and he said, listen, I know you're all chanting please retire at me, and I understand why you want me to do that. You want me to help get Cardiff back in the Premier League, and yes, that's a soccer reference, but Jericho's like, listen, even I'm not that good, you're all totally boned. And what happened? Boom. Chris then got the line sold for a 1-2-ooh, and Billington came back with a German suplex. And you know, Chris locked in the walls of Jericho. That was that. Not true, Tommy Boy got to the ropes. Amazingly, he then hit Jericho with a tombstone, which I was not ready for, which also got a 1-2-ooh. And I think Billington showed his inexperience because he got pissed off with the learning tree. And while he did go to the top of Tina the Turnbuckle, instead of hitting Jericho, he took out Brian Keith instead. He also moved out of the way so Big Bill went crashing into Barry Barricade, and it meant when he finally did jump from the sky, Chris Jericho had taken his med pack and he hit this badass mid-air code breaker, 1, 2, 3. Jericho then told us the Hook was a coward because he hadn't even come to the UK, when of course out came Hook, but he hadn't done the numbers game here. Big Bill grabbed him and gave him the most obscene chokeslam you've ever seen. The reason I'm still looking up is because I don't think Hook's come back down yet. So I probably think the Hook should win the FTW title in London at Wembley Stadium and then maybe retire that belt, but whatever we do is totally fine. And also, make sure you tune into Collision this week if you want to see the biggest babyface in the UK, which is Big Bill. That made me feel good on my Tootsie Toes. And all this, I thought was really well done. When we had a women's title match. I mean, why not? There's also Toni Storm versus Saraya, so you can see why AEW did this. Let's just address the discourse online. Sometimes you all need to just go outside. Because again, hate what you hate and like what you like. But the sequence they did at the start was not goofy wrestling for life. And listen, I'm the biggest supporter of goofy wrestling for life. Because they were in England, they were doing a spot that in World of Sport happened all of the time. And actually, if you watch all of WWE, not all of it, but some WWE and some AEW, people have done this before. It was just a nice wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the past. That's important in wrestling. Everybody calm down. There's also a good near fall after Saraya hit the former Rampage and Toni grabbed the rope at the 1-2-ooh. And of course, Harley Cameron had come to the ring with her friend, which is another reason I like going to see these shows live. You can watch what the so-called managers or seconds do on the ring apron. I thought she was very good. She kept casting distractions, so eventually Storm just went and punched her in the face when she hit the Storm Zero, and she retained her championship when, of course, Mariah May teleported in, and she had a shoe. Smacked Toni Storm right in the face. Now, realistically, I think this feud has already peaked, so you couldn't do much more here, so it was best to kind of get in and get out as fast as you could. And moving into Wembley, Mariah May should walk away as the AEW Women's Champion. Goes back to what we've already talked about. Don't do a one and done here. Stretch it out throughout the year, and that rhymes. So it must be true. Up. Renee Paquette was then in the back talking to the conglomeration, meaning Mark Briscoe cut a promo. I think I may be in love with this guy. I don't even know what he said, but he was so amped I got amped when Kyle O'Reilly talked in a British accent. I would give him 5 out of 10. It was okay. It worked though, because the local fans loved it as Willow Nightingale got all pumped up too, when of course Orange Cassidy's excitement levels raised about 0.5. He said hello to Renee. He walked off. And speaking of having fun, I am now going to be an arrogant Alan, so please do forgive me. But given that I do have a small platform, I just want to say thank you. Because during the next commercial break, I was like, man, I need to go to the bathroom. When I did do this, there was a section of fans that did a Simon Miller chant, and they did an ups and downs chant. Listen, let's just use my stupid catchphrase. It made me feel warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. I also had a bunch of people come and say nice things to me too, so listen, I know, Simon, we don't care about this. Just talk about the show. But I would feel bad if I didn't give you a salute and tell you how much I do appreciate it. I really do. And I am giving you your own special app. When Dynamite went crazy. Now I knew this was going to set the internet on fire instantly, but Will Ospreay did come out to one of the biggest ovations you've ever heard, and my word, the Cardiff fans did this for about 5 minutes, to the point MJF's music just started to hit, and he came out too. Now it went really long, but I still think you have to see it. And it started by Ospreay going, let's talk about last year's All In, Maxwell. You totally screwed that up because you wanted to go ha-ha. And sure, it was amusing, we all found it amusing, but MJF took it way far in the wrong direction, which is why, even though Ospreay wasn't employed by the company, Tony Khan rang him up and said, listen dude, I need you to come in and have an amazing wrestling match, because I can't even trust my own world champion. Shots fired. He also kind of accused Friedman of tanking the ratings, and I get this got a little bit too inside of baseball, but I don't care. I'm a massive nerd and a geek, and I was invested. William also threw in a bunch of UK references that the live fans totally got, but don't worry, my American and abroad friends, I don't think you were meant to get these. Even Excalibur was going, man, I need to do some Googling. MJF then fired back at William and said, man, you've got this totally twisted, because it was me that Tony Khan called when this show needed saving, because you had ruined the whole thing. I wasn't even 100%, but I did what I had to do. Now that was of course to clean up William Ospreay's mess, but Ospreay was like, dude, man, you're the one that messed it up. AEW is always meant to have this special feeling, and it's meant to be about the wrestling, and you totally forgot that, and you made it all wishy-washy. MJF then laughed at the fact that Will Ospreay thinks he's the best in the world, because while legends and his peers keep telling Max that he is the guy, where do you get your information from? These stupid fans. I was like, that's me. After all, Friedman did headline the biggest show in AEW history, and he's the youngest and longest reigning AEW World Champion ever. And like I say, while this was damn good, I was like, isn't the American/international title on the line? I basically forgot. Ospreay is also a coward because he's got the one move that maybe could beat MJF, but he's too scared to use it. So you can take your feelings because the facts don't care. Will just wouldn't quit though, and he said, dude, it took you 4 years to get over where it took me just 4 beats of my entrance music. And that must have got MJF right in the tum-tum because he just exploded in a ball of emotion. And he was like, listen, you absolute a-hole. The fans did love me until you got here. Then he had that look in his face. It's like, damn it, I said the quiet part loud. So it just underlines the fact that Maxwell is actually just a lost puppy, but I love stuff like this. It adds nuance to the character. I know that makes me sound like an asshole, but it's true. He then calmed things down, because like, Will, listen, man, I totally get it. I see why everybody likes you. You got a wife, you got a kid, and you are out here doing good stuff. But actually, let's get into that. Because while you did raise that child as your own, it was actually birthed by another man. And I have a feeling the next time your wife does have a child, you still won't be the dad. So let's break this down, my friends, in case you didn't get it. MJF was telling Will Ospreay, I'm gonna have sex with your wife. I really like what Ospreay did after this too, because he turned to Tony Schiavone and said, listen, I know this is a no contact thing too, but can you ask Tony Khan what the fine would be if I punch him in the head? Schiavone said it would be £100,000. Ospreay was like, man, I don't care, and he attacked him. That was good for two reasons. One, it's just badass, but two, it also tells you Will Ospreay is rich. Security jumped in to calm this down, and very handily, it was a bunch of UK wrestlers, but seriously, shout out to all those guys. They totally smashed it. It was great to see them, but it also basically served as a distraction when MJF got that diamond ring, and he bloodied up Will Ospreay. He was then going to use a Tiger Driver when Christopher Daniels finally arrived to calm this down, and we also got this amazing segment later when Bryan Danielson found Will in the back and just screamed at him, the move. So when we get to All In, do you know how Will Ospreay is going to win this match? With the driver of the Tigers. And yes, look, once again, maybe they did go a bit too inside here, but forget all the stuff about match quality. When they got personal, it felt so gritty, and dare I say it, it felt real, mostly because they were talking about real things that you and I may also chat about. So you should really see this. I think it could be the best promo that Will Ospreay has ever cut, and now they have made me desperate to see the match. Look, I think William probably will win, but I actually don't care, because they've both done such a good job. When we got huge news, Hangman Adam Page is gonna be at All In. Kinda. Now we found this out courtesy of Renee Paquette because she found the cowboy and he was like, yeah, I am putting myself in that casino gauntlet. You wanna know why? Because I need to get to Swerve Strickland. This is why Hangman Adam Page is the most interesting persona in all of wrestling. He has a goal and he ain't gonna forget it. It also means anybody and everybody else that wants to get in that thing is going to die. When he found Evil Uno, and do not forget, Evil Uno is his best friend, his oldest pal, who helped Hangman get back to the top, and as soon as he realized he was in the gauntlet, he got a chair, and he killed him. I was like, damn it, Paige, what are you doing? So there we go, he is going to be at All In, and he probably does win the casino gauntlet, and then he can challenge Swerve at All Out. We will have to wait and see. When my life peaked. Now, I tweeted this out, which was a massive mistake, because people took me way too literally, but it was Claudio Castagnoli versus Okada for the Continental Championship, and as I said on that post, I really do think when it comes to me watching live matches in an arena, this is right up there as one of the best. That doesn't mean that you're gonna love it or it changed the industry or it's gonna get 5 stars. I'm just saying, I wrestle myself, which is the best thing ever, and you should do it too. And getting to see them up close and personal, there's that term again. And just the small things like Bling 182, they are able to pull off so effortlessly. It's like, man, these are top tier athletes. And the little things I can pick up on are just brilliant. The last half too, when they hit the go button, was just hilariously good. And when Claudio hit that big swing, I mean, everybody went nuts. I honestly think he went on for about 32 minutes. The crowd helped once again because they were just going ballistic for this. And do not forget, let's get in a time machine and go back to 2018. Tell someone this was going to happen on the UK shores. Nobody would have believed you, so we got to appreciate it. Castagnoli at 1.2 dodged the referee so he could hit a Sagat uppercut, so Okada made sure he hit the DDT. When they spilled to the outside, and that damn Okada used Rita the ring post. Claudio just kept on pushing through and through, though, and of course this ties into a bigger story. Ever since the C2, Claudio's been trying to win or trying to do something with that Continental title, but he can't get to the finish line, and now it's making him a sad panda. Okada eventually busted out that incredible dropkick, and from my vantage point, I swear he used the big screen to time this, and if I am correct, just a round of applause for that guy. How does he do it? He also did this. Once again, I love him. They just kept going as well with Castagnoli hitting more Sagat uppercuts and dodging Rainmakers and hitting these awesome springboard moves. I mean, I don't want to get too nerdy here. I mean, I'm gonna get too nerdy. Just watching Okada sell all this stuff, it really is one of the best. From nowhere though, the ring announcer then went, oh, we've only got 1 minute left, which honestly came out of nowhere. And you could kind of feel the energy of the room be sucked away because it just told these thousands of people 60 seconds remaining, and it's probably going to be a draw. Surprise, surprise, it was a draw, and this happened just when Claudio could have won, so now we're all depressed. I'm not sure if this is something that AEW needs to address in the future, but I just think if you are going to do draws, which All Elite Wrestling does enjoy doing, maybe in every single match we just need a couple of time calls. Like say you are going to have a 20-minute match, you get one at the 10-minute mark, and you get one at the 15-minute mark, because then we'll get used to it. It won't stand out as much as this one. So it won't have helped that I was super duper into this and that kind of knocked me out of the atmosphere. but I'm gonna give it a teeny tiny down. The Elite then walked out and said, man, maybe we should extend this match. And they were like, well, we don't want to do that because we are EVPs and we read the contract and it says 20 minutes, not 25, and we're a stickler for the rules. They also ripped on Castagnoli so bad he put his gum shield back in like he was gonna fight. When FTR and Darby Allin came out, also to loud ovations, because it was time for our party match. Now Okada and Claudio did fight off into the stands as well, so we're probably going to do the round 2 at All In, on or out. And again, I'm just saying it from my vantage point, and I haven't been this close to a wrestling ring in a long old time. I am not just giving it an up, I'm giving it a golden up. Let's just take it for their entire careers, because getting to see everything they have learned right into my eyes, well, I just thought it was damn brilliant. Which was kind of the same for this 6-man. I mean, good grief. I'm not saying that anybody else didn't do this, but when Dax Harwood and Jack Perry started off, Dax just hit him with these forearms that was so damn hard. It's like, man, he's killing him. This Cash Wheeler absolutely rules too, because towards the end, he got the hot tag and he was moving so fast. I was like, did somebody eject him with speed? Because this is ridiculous. The dive he did to my side of the arena too was out of this world, and he hit Barry Barricade so hard. And this Darby Allin is just an enigma. There's a rumor this week that maybe he is going to be a future AEW World Champion, and I think we should pull the trigger. And I heard somebody close to me shout, what a character, which actually doesn't make any sense when it comes to Darby, because he is most definitely himself, but at the same time, I knew where he was coming from. As soon as he hit the entranceway, people just drawn to this guy. Young Bucks are just excellent, and once again, when you see them close up, you get this. And Jack Perry feels like a more seasoned pro ever since his New Japan stint. So this was just one hell of a fight. Darby's coffin drop to the outside on the Young Bucks too has to be an accident waiting to happen, although Alan will be fine. And Dax's hot tag, man, he just has so much energy. I mean, he must pop a med pack and go wild. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson also fired back with a super kick party when they were going to EVP trigger Cash Wheeler. He's like, no, I don't want you to crush my head, so he got out of the way. So their knees smashed together. We then got 3 sharpshooters, although given that Darby Allin was doing one of them, it has to be a Scorpion Deathlock when, the tag klaxon went off. Everybody just went nuts. It was just so entertaining though as well, because it was the whole you go, I go, we all go, where is our Nan, which ended with FTR hitting the Shatter Machine. So Darby Allin went to the top rope and he hit the coffin drop onto Jack Perry. 1, 2, 3. And I just went, he ain't winning that TNT title. The Acclaim walked out afterwards as well and told FTR and the Bucks, you haven't been able to beat us over these last few weeks, and that's going to be the same come Sunday. And actually, when I think about it, we probably should belt up Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, because of all 3 of the teams, I think they would benefit the most. Then Billy Gunn told us to suck it. I presume he meant a lollipop. This match was just so much fun though, and again, if I go to a wrestling show, that's all I ask. Make me go away with peaches and cream in my head. I'm totally giving it an up. When we got to our last segment, which was Swerve Strickland having a face-off with the brand new angry Bryan Danielson. We also had Nigel McGuinness host this, which I thought was a really nice touch because we were in the UK, but this Swerve, he basically started off all respectful, like, yes, Bryan, you are one of the greatest of all time. When he was like, I think it's massively awful that you're so happy to retire, because here's the deal. Even if there is one day when you think you can come back to a wrestling ring, even if you're in your house talking to your wife and kid going, man, I want to get back in the squared circle, I am going to be waiting for you and assure that you never do this again. Bring down the crime counter. This was a man saying, not only am I going to stalk you, but I will assault you so you can't make a living. But dude, you gotta give it to Swerve. This character is so interesting. He can be a good guy, he can be a bad guy. He's like flipping Batman. He also went after Bryan Danielson, kids and family, and that's when Danielson came out to a huge evasion. And he just kneed Swerve right in the face when he grabbed the mic and said, listen, I think this has been miscommunicated. Just because I don't come out here every week going, whoa, I'm the best, doesn't mean I'm not the best, because I am the best. That's right, he dropped the F word. You should have seen this place, they lost their cojones. He just went totally crazy here as well. There was so much aggression in his voice that you need to go and see it. And he had the whole place going, yes, yes, yes. Honestly, this took me in about 82 different directions, because before all this, I was like, oh, I think Bryan Danielson is going to be victorious, lose, and have to retire, and now I do think he's going to be victorious. But then I'm like, man, if Swerve did beat him, that would do all the good for him. This is a terrific, brilliant, wonderful feud. So we have planted the seeds for an awesome main event where, man, it is going to be so emotionally charged, so I am giving this an up. And again, if you do have 10 minutes, you should watch it today, especially given, because it could be the last time Bryan Danielson does something like this. My word, he took his baseball bat and he hit a home run. So of course, overall Dynamite is going to get an up, but listen, I will just be completely honest with you. If I go to a wrestling show, it's rare I don't enjoy myself because I just want to have a nice time, but even still, in terms of go-home shows, well, AEW completely pulled it out the bag. Now, of course, please do leave me a comment below, especially if you were there, and make sure you share your smaller stories, like the really cool kid with his mum that was dressed like the Young Bucks. That was totally wholesome. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe, and bam! There is another Ups and Downs video for Monday Night Raw. Let's all enjoy wrestling together. Otherwise, thank you very much, my friends. Make sure you have a terrific day. I'll see you soon.